in order to get to the NBA, my mind told me that I had to kill my mother. And, she was laying there and I choked her.
Welcome back to Chilling with Breezy. Life, lessons, and laughs. On today's episode, it's not a laughing matter. It's a blend of life and lessons, which go oh so well together. This is what I believe will be the most important podcast that I ever hold because it has to do with life and the importance of it. And when speaking of life, in this case, there will be plenty lessons to be learned from it. My guest today go by the name of CJ, named Charles at birth. He fought mental illness with the support of his family, most importantly, his mother, when unfortunately tragedy happened that would change his life forever. Welcome, welcome, my guest, Charles. Introduce my guest. What's
How
up,
everybody
man?
doing? What's going on? What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Always. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I want you to give your introduction because I'm not all the way there yet with it yet with introductions. I want you to
Right,
give
right,
your introduction.
right. So my name Charles. I go by CJ. I reside from Joliet, Illinois. You know, I've been putting in a lot of work. Getting my life together, working on myself. Most important. I overcame a deep and a deep situation, and I'm just constantly every day working to better myself. And today I kind of want to, shed the light on the just mental health. Like a lot of people go through things in life and they don't handle mental health as they should. So I feel like that's very important and that's very key to take care of your mental health. And I feel like like I've been through it, so I'm somebody that got a lot of insight about it, and I would like to share with everybody else to kind of pay more attention to it and look into taking care of your mental health because it's important.
Okay. So in a few words, what would you like for people to take from this interview before we
So what
dive
I would
into it?
so what I would take from it is be
What you would
free.
want people to take from it?
I would want people to be themselves and be free. Don't be scared to ask for help and just have a lot of insight and hold yourself accountable for your mental health. Like if you don't take anything from what I'm saying, just take the fact that you need to hold yourself accountable about your mental health. Like, coming up, like they stigmatize mental health so much. A lot of people don't have a knowledge into mental health. A lot of people, they say things about people that struggle with mental health, not knowing their downside in these people, and at the same time, you should be able to have somebody to talk to or have somebody to go to. Because like they say, a real person not gonna knock you down, they're gonna lift you up. So if you see somebody in the struggle and you see somebody going through things, you try to help. You don't judge a person based off actions they might make outside of mental health. Because at the end of the day, we all go through things in life. Some people just cope with them different. So that's basically it.
Okay. So okay, so let's learn about your upbringing. Tell me about you as little Charles, like little CJ.
All right, so like I say, I was born and raised in Joliet. I was born staying on the road. Mom and dad was together. You
You say
know,
on the road, what you mean?
Patterson Road.
Okay,
Patterson
so
Road. I stayed on Pico Court. Raised by my mom and my grandmother. So we grew up around there. Mom and dad
so you
separated.
so you said you was raised by your grandma and granddad. That's who you stayed with?
I stayed with my mother, but my grandmother stayed like right around the corner in Pico Court. So my mother worked a lot when I was younger. So like I spent a lot of time with my grandmother.
Okay.
So that was pretty much that. And
Okay.
you know, like
Did you
I
have any
was,
siblings?
yes, well, I got two sisters from my dad's side. They reside in Mississippi, and I have three older brothers. Three older brothers. I'm the youngest out of my mom's kids. I'm the youngest. I have two older brothers on my mom's side.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. And what was your relationship like with your mom? Because you said you spent a lot of
so
time over grandma.
oh yeah. So for sure. So me and my mom, we got along real well. Coming up, I mean, I had it hard for a certain degree. I went through some traumatizing things as a child. My mom was always there to support me. Once again, I was the baby, so she really cared for me. She was overprotective over me. She never wanted anything to happen to me. She was always on my side. You feel me? Through it all. And then in my upbringing, she supported a lot. I played a lot of basketball coming up. I was real talented. So she was supportive of that. She showed up to all the games, everything. So in full support of me and my basketball. So
Hmm.
that was real key. So that helped me out a lot in my upbringing to get me away from like the streets and different things that was like my coping mechanism to play basketball. Cause once you get on that court, it's like everything is to the side. You're not thinking about life struggles when you're on that court. It's just you here to play basketball and that's it. So that was like my main coping skill, although I was going through what I was going through as a child. So that was like my getaway from everything, just being able to play ball.
Okay. So you played ball. And so you would say that you had a very supportive family?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do have a very supportive family. So, like I said, I grew up with my grandmother. My grandmother passed. I was about 8 years old. She passed away. This was like back in like 98, 97. She passed. So that, I mean, that kind of separated the family, so to speak. Where like everything wasn't the same. Like because every Sunday, my grandmother, everybody meet up at her house. We politic, we chill, we talk, we had laughs. My uncles and all, they watched the little basketball games. We just had a good time. We sit back in the backyard and have a good time. That's when family was together. That was the best times. When she passed, everything kind of broke off. Everybody went their separate ways. But I do give kudos to my mom because once this occurred, she took it upon herself to keep that togetherness. So she took the burden to keep my grandmother's legacy going by having all the family functions to where we were able to oversee or have the family functions and stuff at our house. So that's what
Hmm.
I came accustomed to. So like when my grandmother passed, like I said, I was about 7, 8 years old. We then, like I said earlier, my mom and dad separated. We wound up moving to Evergreen Terrace. So we stayed there. So starting there, made a way out of nowhere. Every little, holiday, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we held everything at our house, at our apartment. Family came, we ate, everybody politic. It was back good. So, that was a good thing that my mom was able to keep the family together.
Okay. So mental health. So when did the mental health kick in?
So
Mental
I
health
say, oh,
crisis.
so okay, so let's talk about it. So all right, after we moved from Evergreen, we moved to the end, the south end of Joliet. So that's where, I went through some traumatizing things as a child. You know,
Or
I went through
can you speak up more? Is it
yeah, oh
too
yeah, oh yeah. So
intrusive?
okay, yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna just keep it all the way 100. I was sexually abused. You know what I'm saying? And growing up, I felt as a child that I had friends I can go to and kind of vent about those things. And it didn't work in my favor because, like, by telling somebody that, I felt like it was a way for me to vent. But to them, it was only as a joke or something where people can pick on me about, and it put me in a bad position where now it's put out there. So it's like people know. So it's like, I'm being talked about, I'm being teased, I'm going through all of this because of that. And I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing as telling a friend that, I went through some things, but I wound up getting teased about it. And that's when the mental health got the like offsetting itself. Because now I'm paranoid. I'm worried about what people think. I'm worried about what people say. All the cruel things and mean things people used to say really threw off my mental. So at that point, I was looking to be accepted. Like I wanted friends. I wanted people to not judge me. But at that time, people were judging me. So it left me alone, cold, bitter. I never told anybody else about it, but it was still hurting me on the inside that people would tease and joan me about it. Like that's, like at the end of the day, we men. So that's in a way that's our manhood. That's you feel abused by doing things like that. So and even
So
and then like
let's
yeah,
sit
go
there
ahead.
for a moment, right? Because I want to highlight the importance of what you just said. You being sexually abused and it being tied to manhood, because this is something that a lot of people just don't understand. I've had this conversation with plenty of people, and I said even when a boy has been sexually abused, it still takes away from his manhood, and that's something that you can't really get back. So it's like a
Exactly.
lifelong struggle,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
And the fact that you was reporting your abuse to your peers, as would like just say a girl, and she would get comfort, you was met with rejection.
Exactly. True.
And then so that right there is kind of, would you say that's the first sign after being rejected by your peers?
Mhm. Of
Um,
course, yeah.
would that be like the first sign of mental issues?
Yes. Yes. Of course, because like without having nobody to talk to that you can actually get closure from or that's gonna fully support you, you don't have that sense of knowing that everything is okay. If you're being teased about it or joked about it, you're not getting that closure of it being okay. So you're thinking less of yourself that it's not. So it's like, what do you do now? And then at that point, I held it in so much, I didn't want to tell anybody else. So now I'm hiding who I am because of what I went through. So it's like I'm playing myself now. Now I'm not getting the help I need. And that's why I feel like it's important to get the story out for people that go through things like this to be able to voice it and get that therapy and tell somebody get that help that you need earlier on before it gets worse. Because the more you dwell on it and you don't accept it, one, and be able to move past it too, you're not going to get any better. You're going to stay stuck, and that's what you don't want to do because it's just going to build up more stress. And like say you wind up in a situation like myself, which I'm pretty sure nobody ever wants to go through. You know what I'm saying? So like I got my sanity back, and now I'm doing well. But at the same time, I don't want to see nobody have to go through what I went through. That's why I want to voice my opinion about this.
Okay, and then I definitely feel that, and I want to help you get that out,
Yes,
like
sir.
for real, because it's always a highlight putting out that women are, when you think of sexual abuse, it's always women. But in fact, this happens to a large percentage of boys, because anytime uh, anytime the spotlight is put on one group, it leaves the other group in the shadows. So then in
Right.
the shadows, anything happens because
Mhm.
nobody's paying attention or caring about what's happening over there.
Right.
So so while this spotlight is being put over there, and then you got all type of liars that jump in that spotlight too, and
Right.
they diminish people, they diminish people real trauma and abuse, because they
Right.
come in with lies, lying on people. Meanwhile, you got real people being victimized over here, and they wouldn't even lie
Right.
about this victimization, because like you said, this affects your manhood. So it's not
Exactly.
nothing that a young man would lie about. But
Right.
did you was this only, if you don't mind saying, I don't want you to go nowhere where you don't want to go. Was it by family or outside family or friends of family?
No, it was outside of the family. It wasn't a family member. No, it was not. It was
It was
outside.
friends of family.
Friends and family. Friends of family. Yes.
Okay. Did you ever confide in family?
So To be honest with you, I haven't. And this is, I never even told my mom about this. You know what I'm saying? But it was so hard for me to accept it then. I didn't want to tell family because I didn't know how they would react to it, if they would do something about it or whatever the case may be. I just didn't feel comfortable telling somebody because at that time, I was more so, I ain't gonna say scared, but it was just like I wasn't comfortable sharing it due to a reaction of how they might react from family.
because
But like a
because
friend
you've
is different.
experienced it
Yeah, I experienced it. I don't, and
with
then
your
it's like
friends.
I don't,
So yeah.
it's different. Yeah. So it's like I felt more comfortable sharing with a friend more so than family because I don't know how they might react to it other than a friend. What a friend might just vent and talk to me about what how I should feel or showing their gratitude or not gratitude, but showing their care for the situation other than
Oh,
family
more.
where they might want to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want it to go that far. And at the
So,
same token, I didn't want it to get out there any more than what it already was anyway.
so
Just
let
because
me
of
let
how
me,
ashamed I was.
my bad. I don't mean to cut you off.
Good.
Say what you
You good?
said in the clip.
No, I was saying like I didn't want it to get out there no further than what it did because of how ashamed I was because of it.
Okay. So I heard you say something that I never could understand, but I
Mm,
want you to explain to me the reason why you wouldn't want people to do something about it. Because I heard you say that's one of the reasons why you didn't want to tell family because you didn't
of
want
course,
them to.
of course. Because like okay, just period. Like I'm the type of person I don't promote violence. You feel me? I never been a violent person, none in my life. Like I was always the cool guy. Everybody come around me and survive. We gonna chill. Everything could. Everybody have a good time type of thing. It never got violent with me or around me. Period. That's just the type of person I am. I don't promote violence, so I'm not that type that's gonna want to do something about it. My thing is more to just get an understanding where I'm good mentally, not just me doing something about it and that solving the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because like, okay, I could have maybe told family, they get upset, they do something about it. What is that solving though? That's a punishment for them, but that's not doing anything for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not giving me any closure into me doing the stuff. I didn't want to hurt a person because of it, but it's just hard that I have to go through it. I want to get the help that I need to be focused mentally about it. And that's where the therapy and the treatment and everything else come from that you need to get your mental together. So that's just me. I mean, a lot of people might have took it a different way. They might look at it to where they want to do something about it and that's their closure. I'm not that type. I don't operate like that.
Okay, and I asked you that because I got women that around me that they have been victims also, and
Mm,
and it blew me, it baffled me that nobody told me. It seemed like everybody knew, but everybody made sure not to tell me. And I always looked at like I'm the only one that would have did something, right? Why didn't
mm,
y'all tell me? But then I had to suffer the consequences of what this person did
right.
because that messed with my relationship with the victim because now
Right.
they looked at me like I was never there for them.
Okay.
Like you didn't protect me, you didn't do this, you didn't do it. I'm looking like throughout my whole life, I'm looking like, why do you think like this? What's the problem? Like I got your back 100 times over and over again. You feel me? And I
Right.
just didn't understand what was going on. I'm like, I asked like, hey, what? Why would she say I don't have her back? I'm confused. And then when
Mm,
I found out this, I'm like, so I had to suffer. The
mm,
only person that would have did something. My relationship with this person had to be estranged
mm,
because she felt like I wasn't there to protect her, but I could have, but I wasn't allowed to. And and with me as an adult, I look at it for the next victims too.
right.
Like right now, if I hear about a sexual predator,
Mm,
I'm gonna pull up on them, especially if it's somebody around, like it's my people, only because I'm gonna prevent it from happening to the next person.
right.
Right? Not saying I'm gonna pull up on them and delete them, or nothing like that. It's more of a addressing, like, I
Right.
know what you did.
Right.
Now, if I had to come back here, it's gonna be some problems, or even send them to jail, even though that don't them cases are not even tried as serious
Mhm.
as maybe a dope case. But I think that it needs to be it needs to be something put on them people, whether it's you register so that people, they know who they dealing with, and you chose to deal with them if you please. Because man, I definitely, man, I'm sorry you had to go through that,
Yeah.
genuinely. Because as a man myself, and I know we like the same. I'm 34. You like what, 33?
33. Yep.
Yeah, I know, and I just know, like, my manhood is everything,
Right.
and I cherish it. I honor it. I cherish it, right?
Hmm.
And for you to be victimized, or any other boy to be victimized, I feel for it, because it's not like it was voluntarily, like you was on some punk shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
You were a child and you got
Right.
taken advantage of, you know what I'm saying, forcefully by a man.
Right.
And man, that touches me, like, for real, bro. And that touches me, bro.
For sure.
And that's why, like, I'm happy that you're able to say this without fear of being scrutinized, or um just being talked about over and over again, since that's how it started. So
Right.
so yeah,
Right.
bro. I I appreciate your strength, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a lot to get to this point, you know what I'm saying, where, mainly growing up, like getting past it, what I learned is that I have to accept it, that it happened. First off, you can't move past it if you don't accept it. You'll accept it for what it was. Yes, it happened. You acknowledge it. Yes, it happened. But does that determine who I am? No, that's not who I am. You know
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying? That's just a part of my life that I went through. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't define who I am as a person. And for a long time, I let other people determine that off what they said. I felt like if they were saying it, then maybe it's true. That's who I am. But I had to learn that, I'm a man, one. So I'm going to stand on what I believe in, and I'm not going to take too much insight into what other people think anyway. But it took me to become an adult to really put my foot down and to understand that I am who I am, and I accept myself for who I am. And I don't do anything for, like, people to approve of or not. Like, I am who I am. I'm comfortable who I am. That's why I'm so, like, able to open up about certain things, because I know myself. For a long time, I let other people define who I was, and that's who I thought I was off what people define me as. But now it's like, I got my head together where, I know who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I say, I accepted it for what it was, and I was able to move forward and get my mind together and know that it happened, and also understanding and knowing that, yes, it happened, and two, it was not my fault. You know what I'm saying? It was not my fault. Somebody took advantage of me. Well, it's not my fault. I had to constantly tell myself that, like, it's not your fault. Like, I didn't. It's not nothing you done. Like, it's nothing that you intentionally done. Like, you
Exactly.
were taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? So,
So when did it when did mental illness start to show, to where, just say, family noticed it? Because who would be the first? It probably would be
so
your mom, the
So
first one that noticed.
yes, sir, yes, sir. So obviously, my mom knew. It got to, like you say, this happened. Maybe I was in, like, the third, fourth, fifth grade, whatever. I went through junior high, kind of going through it, and it didn't really set into my mother till I say about freshman year. She got to realizing something was a little different. I couldn't focus in school. I went to juvenile and stuff like that. Like, stuff was starting getting rough for me. So she took a deeper look into what I had going. I could never stay eligible for basketball. I always got kicked off the team for grades and stuff like that. So she kind of paid more attention. And she came to me after freshman year. I came home with a report card with all F's. So she really just sat down with me and asked me, like, CJ, what's going on with you? Like, you've been acting different. So I'm like, I like I said, I didn't want to speak on it, but I was embarrassed about being talked about and teased all this time. But I didn't want to tell her this. So she took the initiative to think, okay, well, maybe she knew I may be going through something, but she didn't understand exactly what it was. She thought it was maybe I couldn't pay attention in school or whatever it was. So then she took the initiative to talk to, like, we had this big meeting with like the deans and stuff. I was going to Joliet West. We talked to like the deans and stuff, and the counselor, whatever, the counselors and teachers and stuff. We had a big meeting, so they felt that it was best that I get put in special ed. So maybe that would have changed something. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, maybe he can't function correctly to pass in class. So let's put him in special ed. Maybe he can focus a little better, thinking that that was the issue, that could help. But once again, it didn't help because that's not the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So,
and I want to
like,
let me
yeah,
pause you right there. I want to touch on two things that you said before you go further. The last one being first, the special ed part, bro. I spoke in this in depth about the special ed
yes,
ordeal. And I recognize it to be a system that it puts different types of kids together, right? So you
right,
got real kids with learning disabilities, right?
true,
That these classes was built for. But
right,
then you got kids that act out, that
right,
may be considered bad,
right,
you know what I'm saying, which is like BD, right? So
yeah,
then they put BD and special ed together.
right,
Now you got the kids that's really hard at learning,
mm-hmm,
they want to be bad.
right,
Then you got the bad kids feeling that they're hard of learning. When really quote unquote bad kid, especially when you're talking about a black man, a black young boy, right?
mm-hmm, yeah,
Most of the time, either they're crying out for attention, is something on the inside, like in your case,
right,
it's something that
yeah,
you it had to be said. It wasn't that you were dumb, it wasn't that you
right,
was a bad kid. You've been through
right,
some things, and
right,
the system wasn't set up properly to make you feel that it was a safe space for you to come out with what you had been through.
very
Instead,
true,
they throw you in this class,
mm-hmm,
which eventually turns you into a villain, right?
exactly,
And I think that's one of the greatest problems with schools in America. I really do. Because you have to know that, like, you have to understand the connection. Being teachers and being principals, studying human behavior, you have to know that this child, if
mm-hmm,
you don't think he's inherently bad, if you don't think that, hey, kids like him are inherently bad, you have to understand that it's something that you don't understand.
right,
So I think that's when the mission should be to understand them. And I want to throw that in there along alongside of I'm gonna ask you too.
yeah,
Would you like to advocate like for that type of thing? Like the reform of
for sure,
schooling in the
for
area?
sure, for
Because
sure,
did you went to juvenile after that, right?
yeah.
And would you say that like your friends became a little more negative once you got in
Oh
special
yeah,
ed?
oh yeah. Nobody, I mean, at that point, now it's like, okay, you doing what you got, you did what you did as a child. One thing, two, now you a child, you going to jail and stuff. Like, like families, they look at you like, nah, like I'm a bad person now. Like, he let on that he did that, he going to jail and stuff. So, cause I remember the day I went to jail. Should we it was a little situation where I brought like a BB gun to school or whatever, and I got caught with it or whatever. Well, I really didn't get caught with it. It was in the school, and it was word saying that I had it, and they searched my pockets and found the metal pellets or whatever. And they searched the school, but I guess it was being passed around the school, so they couldn't find it. So they kept asking me where it was. I lied and said I didn't bring it or whatever, but I had metal pellets. So they're like, we know you have it. So they wound up finding it, and a police officer was upset. They slammed it on the table. You said it wasn't no gun. I found the gun. So they had wound up asking the principal, do you want to expel him or do you want to press charges and he go to jail? Like I had like, you know, and then this is like this, like, and this is one thing as a child, like this thing, something
Can you
like
say
this.
your grade again real fast so that the audience understand what age you were on top of the things that you had been through? What, let's say the
I
grade
was a
before
freshman.
you.
I was a freshman.
Okay, so the
So
police
so
slammed you and everything. Okay, let's go.
so it's like, so now it's like, you know, because I remember the day it was we had a basketball tournament game. You know what I'm saying? We was going, I think we was going to Chicago or something like that. So you got to think, all my peers, you know, like I said, I was good in basketball. So all my peers, you know, I'm good in basketball. So you know they expected me to come and play. Not only can I come and play, now you got to explain to that whole group, I just went to jail today. I'm not even there. I went to juvenile for a BB gun. You know what I'm saying? Going through a lot as a child, man, I had to deal with that, you know, being in there, you know, and especially coming from somebody, I would say, that's really not like that, man. I'm not like that. I'll like the things that occurred in my life, it was out of character for me, I would say. None of this stuff I've been through is really who I am as a person. It was just I went through so much, I never had the opportunity to show my resilience and show who I really was as a my genuine and my heart. I never got to show it. I got caught up in the midst of too much disappointment and grief about things I went through.
So what? So when did mental illness become
So
so apparent that your mom like took you to go get it checked out? Because you did go get it
so
checked out,
so
right?
yeah, I did. So after that, you know, I went through high school or whatever. You know, I dropped out senior year. Well, actually, I got expelled or whatever senior year. And like to speak on it, you know,
What did you
after
get
that,
expelled for?
so I was on expulsion warning for ditching class. I ditched class a couple times, and they put me on expulsion warning. Like I was having truancies and stuff where I was leaving school early or going to a million lunch periods and you know stuff like that. I was acting up in class where they put me on expulsion warning, and then you know I wound up one of the last day when I was on expulsion warning. I guess before school I was smoking, so I was smoking weed before school. So I came into school knowing like I'm gonna get popped off. Basically, I knew after first period because I smell like a pound. You know, I luckily I had gym first period, so I could change. I get to change the clothes. I'm hooping, you know, at gym class. So when we come in there to change, I noticed the smell. So I'm like, damn, like these clothes is reeking, man. But it ain't really nothing at that point. Ain't nothing I can do about it. So, you know, I went to the class at the next period. I went to class, you know, I sat in there, you know, I'm doing my little work and I noticed the teacher just kept popping her head up looking at me. So I'm getting a little paranoid now. I'm like, man, she keep looking at me. In my mind, I'm thinking, do she know I'm high or does she smell it or whatever the case may be? So, you know, it about 10 minutes go along, she hop on the phone. So then security came, they asked, they're like, man, we need to take you to your dean office because it's suspicions that you smell like weed. So I'm like, all right. So I went to the dean's office. So I'm talking to the dean. He was asking me, like, have I smoked weed and all this type of stuff? I'm like, no. He like, well, you know, the teacher said you reek like weed or whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. So he was like, well, you don't appear high to me. Like, you don't look like you're high or whatever. But we have to follow protocol. So if you're saying you're not high, we're gonna need to do a drug screen. So then, you know, like, you know, he mentioned the drug screen. So I just came out with the truth. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I smoked this morning, whatever. And I admitted to it, said, well, sorry, but you know, you're already on expulsion warning. We're gonna have to expel you. We need you to go turn your books in, and that's it. So that day, you know, I dropped out. I wound up leaving the school. I got expelled. So I wound up telling my mom about it, and I have an older brother, and this is one thing too. My older brother, his name is Antoine. He struggles with mental health issues as well. his occurred before mine, and it was like a domino effect with his behavior and everything that was going on with him. Then kind of, I ain't gonna say aggravated me, but it kind of rubbed me in a way. But what I was going through that led me in the same direction. So he went off to school. He went off to college, and you know, he was there for about a year or two. And my mom got a letter in the mail saying that, he had to come home. He had to come home because certain things were occurring at his school, and he had to come home. So my mom and my uncle, they went to go pick him up from the airport or whatever. They picked him up, and he get back home, and I was outside. I was outside or whatever. So I'm in the neighborhood. So this is when we stayed on the east side. We stayed on Fifth Avenue. So I get a couple people around the corner telling me, what's all the ambulance and police doing in front of your house? So I'm like, I don't know. So I ran there just to see a big scene. So now I'm trying to bombard my way in the houses, all type of neighbors and police and everybody in the house. I'm like, what's going on? They won't let me in. So I finally barged my way through the front door to see my mom crying. And she ran to give me a hug. And she was crying. She was like, something wrong with my baby. So the police brought me in there. They flashing lights in his face. He was saying some symptomatic type of thing. And they said, ask him, do you know who I was? He's like, yeah, that's CJ, what's up? But I could tell something was off from that situation. So then he went off to the hospital. And, after that, that's when I got into weed. I started smoking a lot of weed, and I was dealing with the stuff that I went through as a child. All of this stuff is built up for me. So then it turned into me just letting myself go. I no longer dress nice. I let myself go. I was barely showering. I wasn't hygiene. Every time I'm high, I'm paranoid. I'm just going through a lot, and it threw off my mental because now I'm using, what do they call that? I'm
It's like
using the weed as
to cope.
a self-medicating. Like
Yeah,
I couldn't do anything without smoking weed. But little do I know the weed is throwing me off. So I'm going through all this that I'm going through, but I'm not there no longer mentally. Like everything to me is just I'm high. So it's like I'm paranoid. I'm all these things. Like, so it got to the point where one time I was smoking weed in the house. My mom was trying to spray the room or whatever. And this is the first incident where I knew something was wrong, and she knew as well. I was smoking weed in the room. She started spraying the room with air freshener. Now I couldn't breathe, I say. So I admitted myself. I called 911 and I went to the hospital. And I told them that I couldn't breathe and my mom was trying to kill me. That was the first issue with me that was symptomatic and that showed symptoms into that was something was wrong. Because obviously, she's not trying to kill me, she's just trying to kill the smell. So
exactly.
so by me thinking, my mind thinking that, that's showing symptoms. So then I was sent to the mental hospital, and I stayed there for the week of 2012, like Thanksgiving. Think that the week of Thanksgiving in 2012. So I missed Thanksgiving. Like I mentioned to you before, my mom had the gatherings and stuff. So she had a gathering without me being there. I'm in a mental hospital. So, when I came out, she came and got me. And we talked, and she was asking me about what was going on and telling me to, like, I'm gonna take you to the Will County Health Department, and you need to get help. So we went there, and I talked to there. I was going through therapy and stuff like that. I went twice a week, and everything. I was getting my life on the right track. They provided me medication. I took the medication for 2 days. I didn't like the way it made me feel, so I stopped taking it. That's what made me symptomatic once again. But now, and this is what I speak on for people: if you have mental health issues, you get prescribed medication, you going through your therapy. What works for you, just let it work. You don't have to, like. And then, like, the main thing about it, it's okay to take medication. It's okay to have mental health issues. That's why I'm here to preach about it being okay. Like I take medication now, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine. You know, like I'm for taking the medication. It helps me mentally. I'm better. I can think clear. I can make the right decisions and choices and reactions. So with that, it helps. So before, I didn't have that knowledge before. So I just felt like the medication made me feel a certain way. So I didn't allow it a chance to help me. So therefore, I got symptomatic again, which brought me to the situation that occurred, where I got too symptomatic and I committed a crime that will forever, I'll be going through.
Okay, and before we go deeper into what happened, like the big life changing thing,
Yeah.
um, I want to ask, I want to take it back to you getting high in school.
Yeah.
How did you feel around people? If it was
I
any
was
way,
I
like
was I was paranoid, and then like just off the strength that
even in
people
school,
talked
right?
about, yeah, because people talked about me and all this type of stuff. So of course, if I'm smoking weed and they doing all this, of
You gonna
course I'm
feel
like my mental is gone, so I might think paranoid like they might do something to me because they already talking down on me, so they might hurt me. So I felt paranoid and scared, and you know what I'm saying, where I'm just mentally gone, like I'm psychotic. I couldn't think straight. I was always paranoid, but yet I still tried to smoke, you know what I'm saying, which wasn't helping me now.
because you didn't understand. You were a child, so you was doing what you thought was working whole time,
Mm,
not understand that you're not in your right mental state.
mm-hmm.
That would be something that adults should see and hone in on, especially those that are inside of schools. Like I
Yeah,
understand parents also, but the people that work in school are supposed to be trained to see this stuff.
right,
You know what I'm saying? That's why they go through child development classes and stuff like that, right? Um, okay, so school, being around people made you paranoid. You smoke as a self-medication. Okay, so we're gonna bring it to the incident,
right,
the tragedy. I don't want to say the incident, the tragedy.
yeah,
What? Let's start before that. Let's start from when you woke up.
okay.
Where was your mind, if you can recall?
So me waking up, it was a normal day, I woke up, I had a membership at the YMCA. I remember earlier that morning, my mom took me to the YMCA. I went to work out, and I noticed immediately something was wrong because earlier that day, I was going to work out. I noticed it was a lady on the treadmill, right? Not, I don't know this woman, nothing. But for some reason, my mind was telling me somewhere that she was trying to get me to work out with her, which I don't know what led me to think that. But like, I got next to her and I got on the treadmill.
With
So
her?
with her, yeah, she was on one treadmill. I got on the one next to her,
Okay.
and I'm thinking she's doing this purposely for me to get on the treadmill. So I'm running the treadmill. So she turned her speed up. I turned my speed up. Or and then when she got off and left, I seen another guy in there and he was working out. So I started following up behind him every workout. I'm acting like I'm working out with him. So like every workout, like a set, he'd do like a set of 10 on a weight, the bench or whatever. I go right behind him and follow everything he doing as he
On the
going
same
along with
bench
his
or your or like alongside?
alongside. Well, it'll be one bench. I'll sit there and wait for him to get done. Then I'll go do the bench, and then he'll go to something else. I'll sit and wait and get on that, almost as if we working together. But I didn't say a word to him.
Exactly.
That's just me being symptomatic, following what he doing. So that happened, and I didn't stay there that long. I did like I came, I did the treadmill, and I did that the following the guy with the weight bench, and then I called my mom. Like I'm ready to go. So she came and got me, and then like I know you want to talk about like the day up, but backtracking real quick.
We can
The
go back.
night before, okay, the night before, my brother was symptomatic and got sent to the hospital. So he was going through something that night where he got symptomatic, and my mom asked him. She said, "Are you okay?" He got the slobbing at the mouth and stuff like that, saying he was okay, but he wasn't. So she called the ambulance and he left. So then back to the story, we were at home, just me and her. So she took me to the gym or whatever. I came back. I was eating healthy at the time. You know, you know, I I ate a salad, stuff like that. That was pretty much the day. I probably sat around listening to music all day. So later that night, when the incident occurred,
Real fast. Let me ask you a quick question.
yes,
We gonna remember that later on that night.
yes,
But has intrusive thoughts been a reoccurrence to you before that day?
yes,
Okay. All right, you can go. I just wanted to ask that.
yeah, they definitely was. So okay, so that night, I was in the room listening to music. You know, my mom came in the room and she told me. She said she looked at me. She was like, "CJ, something's wrong with you." So like I didn't think nothing of it. You know, but at the same time, I knew something was going on. So I'm watching little videos on the computer monitor or whatever, and the thought dawned upon me that I was going to, and I know pretty much everybody probably familiar with what they were saying, which I'm here to clear that up. A lot of that stuff that they
Hold on,
were
hold on.
mentioning.
Let's remember that we're it's a lot of people who don't know.
Okay, okay, all right. So
So yeah.
it was basically told that you know in me the situation, I thought I was going to the NBA. So like I mentioned before, I was good at basketball. So my thing is, I had this, what do you call it, this hallucination or this delusion that I was supposed to be a part of the NBA. And in order to get to the NBA, my mind told me that I had to kill my mother. So
Oh,
listening to the music,
what
that
type of music?
rap music.
Well, do you know like specifically what song you listen to or no?
Not really,
Uh,
not vaguely.
but would you say it was kind of violent or
I mean,
no?
yeah, it
Just
was. It was. I really couldn't say, but it was rap music. You
yeah.
know, you know, and like, and then that's another thing. Like, after I had this thought, like right after I had this thought about me going to the NBA, the volume shut off. The volume shut completely off. So I'm trying to figure out like how did it shut off. I'm trying to play with the keyboard and mute it and unmute it and figure out why it stopped. But then it just dawned on me, like it say it's time, like you have to do it. Like the voices in my head were telling me you have to do it. So just to speak on it, man, I went in the room and she was laying there and I choked her, and in doing that she yelled and asked me like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" I couldn't respond. So she passed out and fell, and like I ran to the across the next door neighbor house, well across the street, and I'm psychotic at the time, so I don't really know what it is, what I'm doing. I'm just doing stuff. So everything that people saying kind of took a toll into what I was doing. So I went over there. She was drinking or whatever. She asked me I wanted a drink. I said no. She say, she say, she say, she mentioned about like now this is after. I didn't know, like at the time I didn't know what she meant, but she said she asked me was I hungry. I said yeah. She said what she meant was because she said it's some hot dogs in a, like when you thawing out hot dogs, you put them in the sink and let them thaw out.
Yeah.
So they were thawing out in there or whatever. So she said use a knife. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking already what I'm thinking, how supposed to go to the NBA and all this other stuff. So I'm thinking I need to grab a knife and go do what I did. So I'm not thinking that I'm not thinking about no hot dogs. I'm thinking about like what's going on in my mind. So then I went back and I grabbed a knife. And that's when I went in the room and I did what I did. And, after that, you know, I just got this idea about like a song saying something about a creek or something. And I then drug the body to like the garage and, like, you know, I put in a car and I went to the creek by Washington Junior High, but I noticed that it was a fence, so the body was too much to throw over. It was, man, so then I went downtown to the river, Des Plaines River, and I dumped the body in the river, man, and it was crazy, man. Then like I'm just driving around all day. Then it was like a situation where I'm driving around and I see a street called Houston. Houston is my middle name, so I got the delusion that this is the street I'm supposed to be on because it's my middle name. Then I see somebody with a rental car. It looked like a brand new car, but it was a rental car. So I'm thinking, oh, this is my new car. So I pull up to the house. I knock on the door. They answer the door. I'm like, can I come in? They were like, oh no, you must be looking for somebody around the corner. So I don't know what they talking about, but I just went around the corner. I got in the car and went around the corner. Now I guess during while I left, they must have put the key in the ignition to start the car and start running it or whatever. So I went around the corner. I got out the car I was in, got in the other car. Well, I didn't get in the car, but they had the car running, but the door was locked, so I couldn't get in the car. So then I pull off to where, I'm just riding around till like that next morning. And then, I get pulled over. They asked me to take me downtown to ask me a couple questions or whatever. And I told them the story, what I led up to that day. And that's what it was a traumatizing thing to go through, man. Worst day of my life, if you ask me.
Yeah, man, that's heavy though. That's heavy, man. And then the love that you expressed that you had for your mom, that you have for your mom.
Yes.
It's not like you felt the ill feeling towards her. Because I never once in this conversation heard you say that she made you mad as a child or she was this.
Never,
Nah,
never,
you. It
never.
seemed
My
like she
mom
was the
loved me.
center
It
of
was
your
it was
life.
love. It was love there, man, between me and my mom. Definitely. She was the closest person to me, man. Like nobody had my back more than she did, man. Nobody.
Man, man. So you had another brother.
Yes.
How was he as far as his mental?
So so my oldest, he you know, when I was younger, he I'm not pretty much in detail about the situation, but he got jumped real bad, as a child. When we were still living in Evergreen when I was a child, he got jumped real bad and came in the house bloodied up, whatever. And my mom sent him to Atlanta. So he had been in Atlanta for like 20 years. He didn't come back to Joliet until this happened. So he came back and trying to figure out what was going on and like, and he kind of dwells on not knowing about me and my other brother, our health issue, our mental health issues. He didn't know about it. So it was more like a thing of him trying to figure out, and it's like stuff he's dealing with not knowing about our mental health conditions.
Exactly.
Like my mom didn't want to tell him about it because the type of person he was, like I mentioned earlier, he would have been more the type to try to like overprotect or do, and my mom didn't want that for us. She didn't want that extra stress level on dealing with us and our mental health issues. So he kind of left. She kind of left him in the dark about that. So he was struggling with that. But yeah, he came to Joliet. He been out here since. Been real supportive of me and my other brother. They've been real close, taking care of each other, looking out for each other and stuff. And that's pretty much it.
Hmm. Man, I don't know where to go yet. Um, I don't know where to go yet because I love my mom, and I can only attempt to imagine how that even make you feel. But
It
I'm
hurt, man.
happy that you have a supportive family. I'm happy that your brother then, like, he was more understandable,
Mm-hmm.
more understanding than accusing or blaming, because this is the thing that I don't think that people understand about mental illness. Like, people will be so quick to call somebody crazy and just let it go and do this and that without really understanding that mentally their brain don't work the same.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yucky,
it's by
man. It's so
I'm
many
listening.
times. It's so many times I can tell you about how people done called me crazy. I still get it to this day. But like my thing is, I don't I don't put myself around it to hear it because I feel like if it's not the way I am now, it's like if I'm not in a position to be able to elevate myself mentally or physically, I'm not gonna be around it. Like I'm not gonna put myself around the type of things that led me to that situation. Like all the negativity, I'm so not for that. None whatsoever nowadays. So fast forwarding, um, basically I sat in the county for 3.5 years, and this is my first like real case. I didn't know anything about the law or nothing. All I knew is for what I did. Like it was obvious that I did it. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to jail for the rest of my life. I knew, but deep down inside, I knew that wasn't me. I didn't do it intentionally. So it was hard for me to deal with knowing I'm gonna have to go to jail for the rest of my life for something I didn't mean to do. So
Yeah.
that's when like, I started studying, I started listening to my attorneys and stuff like that were telling me like, you have previous hospitalizations and you need to talk to these doctors. And then backpedal a little bit. When I was in the county, my first 8 months, I was unmedicated and I was really going through it. Like, I mean, I'm talking bad. I was
So
popping
did they
sprinklers.
deny you? Did they deny
No, they,
you, or you just didn't request it?
as far as what?
When you say you was unmedicated.
I refused.
Okay.
I was so psychotic. I was not taking medication. I didn't take medication. So that led to a lot of behavioral issues within the jail. They sent me to medical for 8 months. And I sat in there. I mean, I had it the worst of the worst, man. I'm talking like I was so symptomatic. I'm popping sprinklers. I'm like not to go too far, but I mean I was drinking toilet water, throwing shit in the cell. Like I was mentally gone, like ripping up mattresses. Like I really had it bad. I was really real life going through it. So after the 8 months, I finally kind of calmed down a little bit and started taking medication. I started doing the little therapy, which that was like a good thing too, that they had like little therapy in the county to help. But like those were the things that I did to get me back on track, and I finally gave medication a try. And once I started taking it, I started getting my mind back because you figure I'm in jail, so all the drugs is gone. So now I'm just medicated and I'm in here working on myself at the same time. And the little 3.5 years I went to trial. I still remember to this day, like I used to sit in the cell, pacing the cell every night before trial, praying that some way, somehow I can make it through and show the world who I really am. And I remember just reciting the verdict, just reciting the verdict. When it comes down to Charles McCullum, such and such case, we here find you, whatever. So I'm like, I recited that so many times that night. And I went to trial and I got the verdict I was looking for as far as me getting found not guilty by reason of insanity, and I will be sent to a mental facility where I then will receive treatment and will be given the opportunity to be back in the community had I followed those protocols. So, I got the verdict. I went to Elgin. This was 2016, October. I got in there, and then you figure 2016 till I just got at the place that I'm at now. The beginning, well, really 3 days of be a year that I've been from Elgin to here. So I did about 6.5, something like that in Elgin. Now, altogether, that would have been like what 10 years, but the 2016 to today, that's like what 10 years, something
seven
like that,
7 years,
7 years.
7.5.
So yeah, so that's now all of that time, that's hardcore treatment. I've been dealing with treatment for that long. That period of time, treatment day in and day out. I've been able to focus on myself. I really been working on getting my mind together. Like I've been participating in groups. It got to the point where I was doing so good, I started running groups. I was able to run a positive relationship skills group. I was able to come here and now I run a substance abuse group. I'm really got myself together and I'm focused enough to be able to give back and to be able to show people what I went through and how to overcome that is,
So, in the treatment facility that you're in, is it all post conviction? Like,
no, none of it. Like this facility is like for those, some of them may be homeless, some of them may be struggling and don't have a home, like a home to stay at. So it's like they're receiving treatment here, and then this is like a faster paced program where they get you in and get you out. Like you come here, get yourself together. They got little programs that help you with housing and stuff like that. So it's a step down from Elgin, but it's still a Smurf facility, and it was qualified for me to come here. But me being here during the circumstances that I'm on, being different from everybody else, it's more serious for me than it is for other people.
exactly.
So that's like, and then with that being said, a lot of people see the seriousness in it for me, and they want to do right. So they have to do right with it being here to get to progress on and move out. So it's like a lot of people take heed to a lot of things that I do and say just because off the experience I have and the insight that I have about mental health. Like I have a lot of insight into mental health. Like I said, it's been 7, 8 years that I've been in therapeutic treatment. So it's like I got a lot of knowledge when it comes to like treatment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have a lot to offer for like the groups and stuff like that.
So let's bring it to a closing with I want to know, like, because you said you got a lot of insight, and I think that you could be an advocate for mental health, right? And that may be an area that you're planning to be a part of, right?
Uh,
Um, let's tell the audience, like, just say 2 or 3 signs, like if you're facing this or this, whatever, you understand it better than I do. I don't want to say whatever, like I'm dismissing it. I just don't know. Um, if you're going through this and that, what should they do first?
so basically, like if you have a therapist, or if even not being in the facility, and if you're not in the facility, if you're on the outside and don't have somebody to go to, I would say just go admit yourself to a hospital.
But
And certain times,
what's
and
the symptom? Let's go over like if you're
so so
like
the symptom
you.
so symptomly, if you notice, if you the most thing is isolation. One, isolation. Once you notice you're not doing the same things, you're not wanting to be involved as you should. That's more of a isolation. That's more of a down situation. You're not feeling up to doing anything as you should. Your energy not there. You're more upset. You're dwelling on things. You're upset. You isolate. That's a negative sign when you start to isolate yourself. You don't want to do that. That's the first thing. And on the flip side of that, mania. That's another thing where a person might be too hyper or hyperactive, where they're constantly doing stuff, pacing or talking to themselves or like doing things irrationally, just doing things just because. That's another sign. And then the other thing is like just like depending on what different types of uh not signs, but the different types of conditions. If you're maybe schizophrenia, if you notice you're listening to voices or you're talking to yourself, you want to admit yourself for those too. And then another thing, this is the main part. When you're struggling with stuff like that, it's good that others around you know. And this is why I really want to I want to pinpoint on this to other people, because did the people, like, instead of downing the person, if you got knowledge that somebody is going through that, you need to help them people. Just help them get through it. Because at the end of the day, it's like if I'm having symptoms and a person just telling me I'm crazy, that's not helping me. If you see me symptomatic, you see me do something out of pocket, you get me my help, get me help. Don't talk down on me or nothing like that. You try to get the help that you can get me. Because like and that's important for other people to realize that, because a lot of people don't that struggle with it, they're not in the know to know to get help a lot of times. So it's up to these care providers or friends or family or peers or whoever it is to know about these symptoms and know who these people are to be able to help them. That's important. Like we gotta like work together and uplift each other and care about everybody's well-being, especially a family or a friend or a loved one. You don't want to see them struggle and go through things like that. So you gotta help.
Okay. And I definitely, man, like I felt that last part for sure when you said like the people who has family members or friends. Like if y'all love y'all people, right? If y'all truly love y'all people, get them help, even if it seemed like they don't want help, because like you
Right.
said, they're
That's
not in
what's
their right mental state to agree with you. But you have to be all right mentally to understand that they're not in their right state of mind, and you have to love them enough to, even if it's by force, hey, police come, or whatever medical professional you got to call, come.
right,
They're not okay. This is not my friend in their natural mental state. This
right,
is something else going on, like your mom was strong enough to do for your brother, and she was strong enough to spot it out in you and say something was wrong, instead of just like ignoring it because of fear. Because love is going to make you call it what it is, recognize it, and attempt to get help. And I think
exactly.
that's what a lot of people lack. A lot of people think love is letting you be, even if it's self-destructive.
Right.
Instead of putting you in a place that can help. Because I did time too, right? I did time.
Mhm.
And I always tell people I wouldn't wish it on nobody. But when you gotta endure it, it will change your mind.
Right,
It will help you to a better, healthier state.
right,
Right? It will do that even if you don't, because your mental illness may not be, just say yours, for example, right? It may not get that extreme, but it could have been heading there,
right,
right? Or
right,
or or even at any level. It's like sometimes you need to be set down, you need to be forced to think about life and the
right,
decision that you made in it, right? Forced to deal with it, not blame it on nothing else, or not let nothing else cloud your judgment,
right,
right? And I just the reason why I asked you, was the facility that you had, was it like post conviction? Because I see a lot of funding get put towards post conviction,
right,
to the point where when you get into the non-for-profit sector, a lot of people run towards post conviction because that's where the money is at. But I tell people all the time, like, I like to focus on uh, uh um before conviction, you
right,
know, when you're in the developmental stage, so that we can avoid conviction, right?
right,
You save a child
right,
before they even go there. And
right,
and so what you're saying, that no, it's not that type of facility, and the fact that you take it more serious because of your experience, it kind of shines light on why maybe why so much money get put into posts because most people don't take it serious until they're forced to.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's important that we tell the audience that, hey, through the door, take it serious, take your life serious. Love yourself more than anything else in the world.
For sure.
Love those that love you and look out for your people, man. Look
Yes,
out for
sir.
your people, check on your people. Um, talk to the if some seem out of character, zero in on it and help. Help.
For
Be a
sure.
good person. Be a good person, man. Not did you have any last words?
Man, like I say, man, I just hope everybody, take this interview and man, make the best out of it, man. I'm here. If anybody need somebody to talk to, y'all need some type of about my want to speak upon my experience or any additional information, anything like if it come down to mental health, anything, like I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. And like I say, man, I'm working on myself. I'm gonna continue to keep pushing. But I just like once again, I just want to make sure y'all shine this light on mental health. Y'all make sure y'all take care of y'all mental health. It is very important. Every day in, day out. Take it one day at a time, small steps. Don't be scared to ask for help and just do what you gotta do, man.
Okay. And I'm pretty sure you know this. I don't want to overstep. I'm sure your mom is happy and proud of you because I'm a parent. I'm a parent, and like for if I was to see like my child overcome a fight or a battle and come out with strength and power, I would be so proud. You feel
Yes,
what I'm
and then,
saying?
and, then,
So
and that's it. And I'm a true believer in that too, because I feel like, and I see it a lot of times, like a lot of things my mama told me as a child. A lot of it is coming to reality. Like a lot of things she said to me in the past is coming to reality on like things she wanted me to do, the person I became. Like I understand that I can't take it back and I wish that she was still here, but with her being gone, it's like everything she taught me is motivating me to keep pushing. She's not here with me physically, but she's here with me spiritually. And I feel like she's calculating each one of my steps and leading me into the right moves to make, the right choices, the right decisions, the right actions. Like all of this is everything she would have ever wanted for me. And at the same time, I love her for that. And it's that like the love will never be lost from my mom. Like I love my mom to death, man. Like and everything she taught me, I'm just continuing to push. Like continue to push. Just continue at it.
yeah,
For
man.
real.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you sitting down and being vulnerable, but at the same time expressing strength because I see it's strength and vulnerability, right?
Yes.
Because the fear of vulnerability, fear is in itself is a weakness because it's not real. So the fact that you're able to be vulnerable in front of what might be millions of people, right? That show a level of strength that I think it needs to be highlighted. And you are a walking testimony, and I really do hope that upon your release, I do hope that you continue down this path
Most definitely.
and be that light that's shining on such an important topic because it always have been here. Mental illness has always been a part of our community, meaning the America. I'm talking about America, the American community, and it's gonna be. And I
Yes.
hope, and then I hope that I can even join you in a lot of it. You know what I'm saying?
For
Because
sure. For sure.
my mission is only to help.
Yes.
That's my mission, bro. And that's the reason why I always want to do media, bro, because I wanted to give people like us a platform to help instead of further tear apart
Yes. For
relationships
sure.
and communities like so
For
many
sure.
others do.
And
So man, it was important, bro.
just us doing this alone is a step moving forward, because I'm pretty sure anybody that watches this is gonna be able to take something from it.
Exactly.
They're gonna be able to take something from it, just because of the simple fact that the and me, my story alone, it'll shine more light into the stigmatism. And if a person is right, if a person is righteous, they're not gonna judge. They might look at my story and see everything I went through and think like, it might make a person wanna resolve issues that where they felt like they were too hard on the person about what they were going to. It'll shine that light on those people that need that help, that through this video might actually get the help because it's
Exactly.
put out into the universe. Now you see the results of not getting the help worth versus somebody getting the help. It's a
Exactly.
difference between where I was and where I am now. This is me with the help. Without it was where I was before. And my thing I want to like I can't say it enough, but it's just like get the help you need. Just be open with sharing your struggles with the right people. Like you gotta just be open. Like don't be scared to open up. Like it don't get me wrong, certain people you just that like I struggle with, I open up to the wrong people. But at the same time, when you find those right people to open up with, just open up with them. Be honest with them. Whatever you're going through can be in the past, or it can be moved through. You can move through it. You can get through it. You just got to put in that time, that effort, and you got to want it for yourself.
And yeah, man. Like I said once again, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hopefully, we can do this again. I know it's a long time coming, but I think
Yes, sir.
everything happens in perfect timing.
Very true.
All right, and like I said, I'm with you. Whatever I can do, I know it'd be a lot going on, but I know at the least when you got something to say, bro, this
Yeah.
platform is always open to you, even with you building your own platform, right?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
with you to help you build that also, bro, and get the message out. I don't care what form of content you want to do it in, bro. I can at least help you with the blueprint or structure it, whatever needs to be done. Just know that I'm here with you. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
And I mean that too. So
Yes, sir.
we gonna go here. We gonna end this. And I'm gonna give you a call. I'm gonna
All
give you
right.
a call. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna call you and holler at
Cool. All right.
you. Yep.
Cool. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me,
bro.
man.
I appreciate you, man.
All right. No problem.
Stay strong, bro.
Got you.
Yep. Whew. That was heavy. That was heavy. And I hope that y'all appreciate the strength of this man. Because as I said to him, there is so much unrecognized strength and vulnerability. The fear of vulnerability is what will literally drive a person towards mentally illness. So I appreciate that brother. And I want to pay my respects to his mom because nobody wants for tragedy to happen, but it does. And we cannot ignore it. And we can't ignore the reasons for it. Because every time something tragic happens, it doesn't mean that it was caused by a bad person. Mental illness is real. And please check on y'all people. Check on y'all people and make the right decision, because if they're mentally ill, they don't recognize what they do. They don't. They're not in control. So if you're the party that's in control, take control of your loved ones. If you truly love them, take control and bring them peace. I would like you guys to share this with everybody that you know, because as CJ said, while it's important for a person who's heading in the direction of mental illness to understand certain symptoms, it's more important for the people around that person to understand these symptoms and understand what they need to do at the point where these symptoms is recognized, because they might be already gone and the only one that can save them is you. Share this, make people aware, share it on your social media. Help us make people aware. And I didn't ask CJ where you can contact him at, so I will ask him and post the link in the comment section where you can find him at. Reach out to him and show this brother some love. Lend this brother a helping hand on his journey to raise the awareness of mental illness. Please, 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 do not, do not attack this brother. He's been through enough. He's been through enough. He loved his mom dearly. Please don't attack this brother. I ask y'all. Show him compassion and love as God would. And with that, y'all have been chilling with Breezy. Until next time.